Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Ardent Run Club. I'm Tomi, I'm your host, and today I'm joined by two young athletes from London. They're sisters running for Shaftesbury Barnet, both coached by David Lowe's, both middle distance track athletes who also dabble in some longer distances too. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Lia and Maayan Radus. Ladies, how you guys doing?
Hi.
You all right?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Very good. How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been pretty relaxed.
Nice and hot. So.
Yeah, just chilling.
It's boiling, isn't it? It's crazy how the weather just does that in England.
Yeah, it changes so quickly.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of it. I hate it because I never know what to wear.
Man, we were just chatting before, and you said you went on your run earlier this morning. I also went at like 6 a.m. this morning just for
Wow.
a quick jog as well because it's just too hot. It's like you can't do it in this heat.
Yeah, it's bad. It's too hot to run at like in normal hours.
But anyways, look, we're just going to chat about you guys and your running career so far. So just before we get into that, though, I just have a couple of questions just to kick us off, just so we can get to know you. So whereabouts in London are you guys from?
So we're based in North London. So I guess you'd say like pretty near Parliament Hill. We went to school around Parliament Hill area, but then we're also near Copthall. So just kind of like North London.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys like football?
Our family is very, very staunchly Spurs.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm an Arsenal fan. Oh my goodness!
No, don't accept that.
Oh my goodness! You know what? We'll just edit that out. It doesn't matter. We won't talk.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Moving on. Look, so Lia, how much older than Maayan are you?
Yeah. So I'm 2.5 years older than Maayan.
A bit over.
Yeah, a bit over, but like we do everything together. So like we've always been at the same school.
Yeah.
Like even like not with running, like we pretty much spend like all our hours together. So loads of people think we're twins, in fact, which is weird and like slightly insulting to me. But yeah, we spend a lot of time together.
That's dope. So how much does that pay into competition?
So we haven't really like in races, like we aren't usually together.
Yeah.
But last cross country season, they actually ran the under 17s and under 20s together.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of races where we were with each other.
Yeah, I think we have quite like distinct skills and strengths as athletes.
Yeah.
So I think that's not that much. There's actually, to be fair, there's some competitiveness, but it's not really like serious. It's kind of jokey because we're very like aware of the fact that we're kind of completely different. I mean, like even to watch us run, like our running styles are fairly different, and like how we go about running a race. Yeah. So we have like quite we're not that competitive, but we are in like a funny way.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I really want to know is who's faster out of both of you.
On paper, I go faster times. On paper,
I think over like
I don't know.
long distance.
I don't think it's fair to like compare us directly though, because I mean, we do, like as I said, we have very different strengths, and literally year by year, Maayan is getting closer to me, and like especially this past year, you're getting pretty close.
Yeah.
Which is not comfortable for me, but I'm getting there. I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to it now. But yeah, it used to be like when we were younger, because obviously like that kind of age gap matters more when you're younger. It used to be a big difference. But now it's like it's pretty same by the year.
That's awesome. I've got an older brother and a younger brother, and I'm like my older brother's so much bigger than me, so I don't compete with him in anything. But my younger brother, he's just about the same. Well, he's taller than me now. And like when I was back home for the start of lockdown, I was chilling with him, and I was in the garden one time. I was like, let's have a race. And he just went, and I was like, what the flip? How did this guy just get bigger?
When did this happen? Like while you were gone, he was training.
Exactly, yeah. Oh man, but I'll get him next time. It's so good. But yo, it's good that we got to know that. And I just want to continue and just ask you guys basically like just overall about running from the start to where you guys are now. So I'll just start by asking what got you guys into running? Maayan, do you want to go first actually?
Yeah, sure. So my mom's she's always loved running. So from
Yeah.
like a young age, we would watch her like go off on her runs, and then we like occasionally we would ask her like, oh, can we join in? Because we were really sporty when we were younger. We did like lots of like gymnastics and stuff, and so she started.
I was less keen than you though.
Yeah, I
wasn't so that keen. I was a bit like, oh, it's a bit hard.
Back in the day, like I would do something, you would do something, you would
Yeah,
do
we
something.
did everything.
We did everything together.
Yeah.
So like I would ask her, and so she started letting us come with her on like her 5K runs. And I remember we used to compete like who could stop the least amount of times.
Yeah, I think 6 or 7 times stopping in one 5K when we were.
That was like incredible.
I was like 8 and you were like 6. We're like, wow, we've cracked this running thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I guess you sort of like become more serious.
I got into athletics first, so I was obsessed with the pole vault for some reason.
Yeah.
But I was terrible at it, like really bad.
But
they said her run up was good.
They said my run up was fine, but the rest of it, that's where it all went wrong.
Getting over the bar.
Yeah. I missed the mat one day and they were kind of like,
Jeez.
we're looking to progress this group and like we're not quite sure.
Oh damn.
I was like, fair enough, because it was a bit of a trek to get to Lee Valley and I clearly wasn't talented at it.
Fair.
Yeah, so then I spent like another good 4 months being like to my mum, begging her, take me to the track, let me run. And then she was like, okay, one day she was like, okay, we arrived there an hour late, a whole hour. So I missed the session and then they just got me joining in with some sprinters warm down. Yeah. And I just went for it and the warm down because I didn't know what a warm down was. So I just went for it and I ran like 800 and then one of the long distance coaches was still there after the session and he was like, oh, this girl's not a sprinter. This girl needs to come and train with us.
Yeah.
And then
awesome.
you watched for like 9 months.
Yeah, I watched for like a long time because my mom was like, oh, you're too young. But
really?
Then when I think I was about 8, I started joining in for a couple of sessions.
Yeah.
And then I remember the membership for Shaftesbury, you had to be 12. And so I was begging for so long. And as soon as I turned 9, they were like, okay, we'll make an exception. Like, you're asking too much, you're annoying us, just fine, join.
That's how to do it.
It's a roundabout journey to get there.
That's so cool. And so how long you guys been focusing on your distances now for?
Well, I've been doing like middle distance, long distance cross country since I was in about year 6.
Yeah. I think my first competitive season was in like 2013.
What's that?
So
year 4.
I started young because I just started when she started. So.
Yeah. That's serious. And so when did you realize that you were actually good at this running thing?
This is a hard question because like I'm quite hard on myself. And so for me at the moment I would say like, oh well, I haven't achieved what I necessarily set out to achieve like when I started. So if I've not reached that benchmark, then am I really good? But then that's obviously like I'm too harsh on myself. But I would say like there've been a few races. So I ran my first 3K like off not really any 3K training, not really that, no experience whatsoever in like 2016, 17 maybe. I was an under 15 and I just went and I ran it and I had no idea what a good time was. And then I went straight to second on the rankings. So at that point I was like, oh, this is quite fun. Maybe I'm better at this than I thought. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I think for me probably like, because when I started, like I would join in with so many runs with my mom, so my stamina was just so good. So like I would do cross countries and like I would win them, but like I would have done like 2 runs that whole like as my session, like my whole session for that week. So I guess I just realized that maybe like I could do it seriously. Maybe I could like actually do proper sessions, and maybe I like think about it as like a part of my future.
I think because you started younger than most people, you were better than most people when they started. Yeah. So like once you got to that point 2 years into your running career, most people were just starting, so you were beating them all.
Yeah.
So I think you've known from the get-go.
Literally.
Yeah.
That makes me wonder, because Lia, you were just talking there about how you haven't reached exactly what you want to reach and stuff, and you haven't reached those benchmarks and those goals that everybody has. But what are those sorts of goals that you want to reach, like in the like short term and the long term?
Yeah. So I feel as though I've not really kind of fully mentally invested yet in a season. Like I've always had problems. So it's like if it's in the winter, I've had like quite a lot of, I would say, like, because running is not just physical, it's also mental. I've struggled a bit to get that mental toughness, and David's definitely helped with that. So it's like in cross country, I might have been like, oh, I don't like the cold, I don't like this, I don't like the mud. And then when it would get to the track season, I'd be like, oh, I was stressed because I had exams. And then I'd only ever run a good race like in August. Yeah. So I think for me, I'm not quite at, I want to reach that mentality where it's like I'm on peak form like when I need to be. Season. Yeah, I want to have peak form and not have anything mental holding me back from it and not making excuses for myself.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to run internationally.
Really?
But,
on a side note.
On a side note, yeah. I mean, that's like my ultimate, that's always been my aim, but I don't know. I take it day by day, depending, kind of varying on how realistic it is, depending on the season, depending on the year.
That's so cool. International goals. Woo! Crazy. What about for you, Maayan? Did you have any running specific goals as well?
Yeah, I'd say probably my main goal is to progress up to marathon distance. Because it's always been my aim, yeah. Because I love long distance, and I've always like the London Marathon, for example, because we've done the mini marathon, and so as soon as it finishes, like we watch the end of the marathon, and like I love it so much. Like it just seems amazing. Like, it'd be so cool to be able to like complete that sort of distance.
Imagine how thirsty you'd be
though. Wait, so what's the furthest you run? What's the furthest distance you run?
Probably like on a Sunday long run.
I reckon I've probably gone up to like, I think 11 miles, probably.
Yeah.
It's like 10 miles is like
probably on a Sunday long run.
Yeah.
I don't
think I'd ever like
nowhere near a marathon.
I would only have done it by mistake if I took a wrong timing and ended up going longer than I expected. Yeah. I think that I've never felt a desire to go for a marathon like you have.
Yeah, I've always wanted to.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the speed and I like the tactics of the track.
Yeah, no, the track is the creme de la creme, isn't it? It's just
exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And so, speaking of races and track and all that good stuff that we all love, if you were to break down like your best race that you've competed in, what would it be? And then secondly, why was it so good?
I guess for me, probably, in November, I did the London Youth Games and I came third. And for me, that was quite big, that was a big learning curve because I had like a mental block against the London Youth Games because it was just I always viewed it as like too short for me. But I moved up an age group, so it was a bit longer. And I do love running at Parliament Hill because we train there and stuff. But like I never thought I would like perform well because I hadn't in previous years. But in November, I just like, I don't know, I just sort of had a whole different perspective. Like I was like, it's a bit longer. Like I took all the pressure off myself and I did really well. So like it just sort of taught me to, just let loose a bit.
Yeah, I need to do
that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think my favorite race and where I feel like I've really run to what I can do is I think it was under 17, the nationals in Bedford. On the track, it was the 1500, and I think I got a 9-second PB and came like a really unexpected second, and I was bottom of the age group, and I was just a bit like, oh, that was nice, and it was fun, and I just did it, and I held on to the leader as long as I could. And it's funny to watch it back because the commentary's like, who is this person? They're like, oh, she's gonna drop off, and each lap they were like, she's not staying with this girl who's gonna win. I mean, she did win, but it just felt really good. I was like, oh wow, I think I'm better than I think, and I've finally gotten the sort of times that are the same as the people that I view myself as good as. So that was a good moment.
That's so cool.
Golden moment in my history.
That must have built your confidence so much, just seeing, look, I can actually do this. That's so cool.
It definitely did, especially because I'd not had the greatest season so far. Really? And I had one good race before that the whole season, and I just got like a 9-second PB, and was just like, oh, I can do that. It was nice. I think the unexpected ones are the best.
Yeah.
Awesome. Never heard anyone say that. The unexpected ones are the best. I guess that's true actually, because like I can actually do what I didn't think I could do. That's just so elating. So that's awesome. But on the flip side of that, what is like the worst race you've competed in?
Oh, I remember the good ones because there are a few of them. The worst race. Oh, I did have a race that wasn't like, but I've had lots of bad running, like races in terms of the quality of the running. But I think my worst experience has been a couple of years ago. My spikes were in the warm-up track with me. I did a stride. I came back, like as in I was only ever 50 meters away from my spikes. They were gone. It was call room time. I had to get spikes off someone else. The race went like fine. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was pretty average. I've got a few conspiracy theories about that one because my spikes were found a couple of hours later behind a bin on the other side of the stadium.
Oh my days.
I think someone picked them up thinking they were theirs, clocked it wasn't theirs, and just threw them away. But yeah, that was traumatic.
I remember I was abroad, me and my mum were abroad.
Yeah, you were away.
And we got like a phone call from my dad, being like so stressed. He was like,
Leah's crying,
the gun's about to go, she's got no spikes.
Goodness
yeah, it was traumatic. But
Yeah.
good learning experience because you got to realise that when you get to a race, nothing's going to go, well, some things will, but you've got to be prepared for the eventuality that not everything will go as planned.
Yeah.
That's dope. I was about to say, what can you learn from somebody picking up your spikes and then just throwing them somewhere else? But that's a good conclusion.
Yeah, I have a spare pair now.
Yeah.
I was fuming at the time, though, honestly.
Yeah.
I went from tears to rage very quickly.
Man, what about you, Maayan?
Oh, for me, probably I would say like the whole London schools thing in general, like those races. I've never I don't know, apart from last track season where I won, which was like really surprising and strange because up until that point, like every London school's cross country or track, like I would just never perform. Like the gun would go and I would just feel so weak, and it'd be so strange because I could have like the best lead up, like my sessions could be so good, like there's
Quite a high pressured environment.
Yeah, but I think like the pressure just got to me, like, and the nerves. But then like last year on the track season I won and I was like, what? I broke the curse. So
yeah.
hopefully it's not gonna happen again.
That's so cool. Man,
Yeah.
that again, like if it's not going well so often and then it does go well, that must be so freeing and so like you must be ready or excited for I mean, there's no English schools this year, but for the next one to come and stuff. So that's
yeah.
And so
Definitely.
in the lead up to those races that have been, well, actually any race, because I doubt your routine changes too much. What would your routine for like a track meet be during the lead up to it?
Yeah, so in the morning for breakfast, I always have porridge. Like that's my go-to.
Yeah, me too.
I do change pretty much season on season because I'm always trying to find something that's better. So I remember like one season I was like, I have to have my Lucozade. Another season I was like, I have to have a black coffee beforehand. So I do try and vary it, but I do try to have some kind of caffeine or sugar source beforehand. So I'll either have like a little bit of a sweet, maybe like 15-20 minutes, just like I remember like I used to crush like a lemon sherbet and just like have the sugar and then just spit it out because I didn't want to eat anything before the race. But I think that's more psychological than physical. I don't think you need it because I've gone for like gels, but they always make me feel a bit sick. But I do have a few superstitions with my shoes and socks. I'll do that. If my shoes and socks are fine,
Socks. Oh my god.
if my shoes and socks are perfect, then like I'm not too fussed about like food or what time I wake up or what time I arrive. I'm not fussed about anything with my shoes and socks. Maybe it's the trauma from that race, but
the way she ties her laces. Oh my god.
my shoes are like surgically attached to my feet.
Nobody's getting them.
No, it's like my little superstition. I think quite a lot of athletes have superstitions, but I've never heard of anyone with their socks.
Her socks, she's like pulling them up on the
Because I feel, but I think that's just like a way of like managing the nerves around the superstition.
Oh, fair.
But yeah,
That's
you
cool.
have more of like a standard that you keep to.
Yeah, I just like to arrive at the race like 2 hours before, because if it's like a cross country, it's nice to like walk the course, especially if you haven't been there before. Yeah, and I like to warm up like 50 minutes or so before, because I go to the toilet a lot. So do you. We both go to the toilet quite a lot.
I think it's nerves.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like go to the loo and then I come out and I'm like, oh, I need again, and I'll go back in.
Yeah.
And it's like mad. But yeah, so that gives me a bit of time to like go to the loo. And then I like gels, so I have a gel like about half an hour before. And yeah,
That's cool.
Standard.
Awesome. And so I want to touch on your guys' training as well right now. Sorry, a fly just came in here. Don't want to. Yeah, but
Everywhere these days.
yeah, but yeah. So if you were to look at, like, it's summertime now. Imagine coronavirus didn't exist. What would a standard week be for you training if you got like, well, just track events coming up?
I reckon we do in cross country, we tend to be like all on grass.
Yeah.
And I think, and then in track season, if I remember correctly, last year, because we've been with David now
nearly 2.
This would be our second summer.
Yeah.
So we only really had last summer. We would be on the track twice in a week, probably
Monday and Wednesday,
and then usually there'd be like a race on the Sunday. So Saturday would be. I'll start from the beginning of the week. Sorry, this is not very methodical of me. So
Monday would be a session.
Monday would be a session.
Tuesday would be a run.
Yeah, Wednesday session, Thursday run, Friday.
We always have Friday off.
Yeah, but if there was a race on the Sunday, then we do a little bit of a run on Friday and a rest on the Saturday.
So you'd rest the day before.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much standard throughout the year as well, except obviously in cross country, instead of the track, we're on the grass.
Yeah, and sometimes in cross country we usually do like tempos or something like that occasionally.
And we'll have one session that's a bit longer reps, like 4s and 6s, maybe one that's 2s, I think. One long, one short.
Yeah. And so during quarantine, I know we're slowly coming out of it, but how did your training change from when you got into it to, well, what it is right now? Or has it even changed?
David has this thing called like a virtual challenge. So we did that we did that on Saturday. So that was quite good because it was like trying to replicate sort of like a race, because obviously you're not going to have, we didn't have any races to look like forward to. So it was a bit of motivation. But
I think it's quite good that this situation, the pandemic, came at the season transition, because it just before it, so it meant that we never actually made the transition to the track yet. So we were still kind of doing cross country sessions for a good while, and then the reps started to get shorter and shorter, but we were still on the grass, obviously. So we haven't yet made the transition to the track. We got our first track session tomorrow.
We're so scared.
We're scared. But
we got 400.
Yeah, training didn't change too much because we hadn't yet done that transitional phase.
Yeah, and for us, we train
together anyway, so
it's the same.
Always with David kind of telling us remotely what's going to go on.
Yeah. And so, Maayan, you were just talking about the challenge, the virtual challenge. What exactly is it? Could you just break it down for me?
Yeah, so basically so we have a 10-minute challenge, a 5-minute challenge, a 2-minute, a 1-minute, and a 45-second. So we'd usually do like the 10-minute on its own or the 5-minute on its own, and then we do the 2, 1, and 45 together on Saturdays. And it's sort of like to replicate a race, basically. So you've got you just tell David your distance, and then he puts it into like a table, and you get like handicaps. So like, I don't know, let's say someone's at the top of the table, they'll have a 0 meter handicap, and then so the next week or the next time we do that, they won't add anything onto their distance. So it keeps it competitive. So it's like, so one person is not like ahead for the whole time. So it's sort of like, it brings it like.
So on Facebook we have a little bit of a league table going on, and I think it just kept us, well, now it's kind of past tense, but it kept us all a bit pumped and fired up.
That's awesome.
And competitive with each other, even though we weren't necessarily in contact with anyone from the group.
That's awesome. Wow. love that David put that together. That must be really fun.
Yeah,
it was really.
it was a bit of a genius master plan.
What a man. But
Yeah.
you were just saying there as well, guys, that you are kind of scared for your track session tomorrow. Why would you be scared for that? Like, isn't track sessions just so fun
No,
compared to everything
Yeah,
else?
that's fine.
the speed is
But the
just
speed
different.
can't be replicated, and I feel like it's been too long. It's been too long. I think that I could push myself 1,000 times beyond my limit on the grass, and I wouldn't come near what I could run on the track. So
Yeah.
I'm nervous whether I can
like
unlock that level of speed.
you can't even imagine like the
Maybe it's just
speed.
us. Maybe other people are just better at it.
Yeah,
We
honestly,
struggle
like,
with transitions, maybe.
yeah, you can like push yourself so hard on the grass, and then you go onto the track and you push the same amount, and the times aren't.
You
like,
get
it's just
nothing
not
out.
the same. Yeah,
That's
I think
crazy.
it's also because we don't stay on the track throughout the year.
Yeah.
So although I think most people from my experience, because I've been through like quite a lot of groups and things like this, most people will keep the track once a week even in the winter, whereas David focuses more on things like for us at least, because we do it remotely, so we do hills or we might do 2 grass sessions, so we kind of don't go near a track throughout the cross country season.
Wow.
So it has been a while for us, but yeah.
That's crazy. It's so, yeah, I just want to know, because for me, at least when I was growing up, I was mainly a track athlete, mainly looking at the like 100 to 400 meters, mainly 400 meters. And so that meant that every week, like twice or 3 times a week, I'd be at the track training. So it's just like, I would never be afraid of a track session because that's all I knew, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same with me in the past when I was on the track all the time. But I think it is really useful because the track can cause you like some injury problems if you're on it too much, or
and like spikes is not as supportive.
And I think that David was focusing on building our strength, and you need hill sessions for that, and you need to be on the grass because country is on the grass.
Yeah, obviously.
In the winter, so yeah.
That's
but
so...
I do love the track. I just need to get into it. And I do. It's still it wins in my favorite stuff. It's.
And I want to know, like, you guys have, I don't know, have you kind of accepted there's not going to be much to do this summer in terms of races and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there have been like rumors about like some races, but I don't know, nothing set in stone.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'll be happy if I have a track season, because I think it's a really nice summer, because I would have finished my A-levels, and I was from like October, I was like, this track season is going to be on it. Like, I'm going to finish school, like everything's going to be in place. So I will be excited to have a bit of that back, just a taste of it. But I did consign myself to the fact that it probably wasn't going to happen pretty early on in the pandemic. I was like, no, not going to be a track season. I'm just going to focus on building on myself as an athlete and working on my weaknesses and turning them into strengths.
So how do you get into that mindset though? Because, you know, like if you have since October, you've been like, this is going to be the track season, and then for it to just get shut down, how do you just go like, all right, well, I'm going to start training cross country again or something like that?
Yeah, I was not happy to like be preparing for cross country, but my mentality was kind of, everybody's in the same position, and I didn't come off the cross country season. I wasn't that fit at the end of the cross country season. I wasn't on form. So I was like, well, because at the end of the cross country season, track season feels imminent. So it's like, okay, I might not be ready in time. And then when I suddenly had time, I was like, oh, I have time. So I was kind of like, okay, use this, make strengths from it. Yeah. I mean, nothing's gone to plan. Like, I didn't have exams. I didn't have like any of the proms and stuff. So I think I kind of was like, all right, just scrap how I imagined this summer to go and just rebuild a new one. So I think because I got into that mindset pretty early, I kind of focused on the positives that can come out of it, because that's something David's taught me as well. Yeah, it's just focusing on the positives that could come out of it. I just kind of wrapped my head around it. And it did take me a while, but like a while in the context of being at home for 3 months is like not that long.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, I was injured at the beginning of lockdown. So actually this time has been like really beneficial for me because it's meant that I could just like recover without any pressure of any races and stuff. So yeah, I think it's actually been good. It's good to get stronger.
But I will be upset if we don't get at least a month in a race.
Yeah.
Just because it breaks up the year.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And we touched on it earlier, I guess, just when we were just at the start, just getting to know you guys. But if you were to tell me more, could you tell me a bit more about like your overall running goals? So Lia, you were talking about you want to go do like an international vest and stuff like that. That's flipping amazing, and I'm sure that would inspire a lot of people. So if you don't mind just giving us like the why behind why you want to do that.
I just feel like running is something that I started because I love it, and now it's become a bit of almost like it's a way of me being myself and kind of like almost expressing myself. So it's where I feel most at home and where I can feel like I can be myself and push myself and try out different things. So like work on my resilience, work on my determination, identify what my strengths and weaknesses are, not just physically, but also as a person and as a character. And I think that running's just formed a really important part of who I am. And I would love to be able to just take that to the next level and kind of make my life even more about it and be like, okay, this is what kind of almost defines, it doesn't define me because it's important to have multiple things that define you, but this is a defining feature of who I am and I love it so much. So let me just do a great thing with it. And I feel like the pinnacle would be to run internationally.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Sorry, that might be a bit wordy, but.
And Maayan, you were talking about like the goals of running a marathon and all that sort of stuff in the future. Actually, first, have you done like road races before as well?
Yeah, we do a mini marathon, Westminster Mile.
Yeah, stuff like, but it's fairly short stuff.
Feels mountainous.
But the marathon, that's like, especially the London Marathon, that's like the pinnacle of road running events, and everybody loves the London Marathon. Like it's just something that brings people together. So what was the reason that you wanted to go even further than like run further distances than you're already running, and why do you want to do that to the level that you're aspiring to as well?
Yeah, I guess it's just because I always look forward to like my Sunday long runs because I love the feeling of just like pushing myself even further than I think I can go, and like I just love that feeling when you finish and you're just absolutely shattered, like you can't even stand up.
Okay.
And like it's an amazing course, and like the spectators are so, it's just an amazing atmosphere, and I think it'd just be such a great place to like try and do something like that and just try and complete like that sort of distance.
You've got the mental toughness for it. I'm definitely not like at the end of a Sunday run you're like going for it still, and I'm like, oh my god, how many more minutes just because I just after a certain length of time I don't know if I can stay on my feet anymore.
That's so cool, man. And so I don't know if you guys have mentioned it already, but in the process of talking about how David has coached you guys over the last year or so, but what's the biggest thing you've learned from him individually?
I would say a key thing that I've learned is how to be patient, and that results don't happen overnight and you can't expect them to happen overnight. So before I was like really impatient, like I want results now. I'm upset that I'm not getting them. I changed one thing last week and I'm still running the same. I'm like, why is this happening? Which obviously makes no logical sense. And David's kind of taught me that you need to play the long game in running. You need to look towards the future. You can't just expect things to happen immediately, and you need to work on long-term development. And he's also like a massive motivational speaker, and like I can be not in the mood for something and David will get me pumped, and it only takes him like three or four minutes.
The quotes, the motivational
I love
quotes.
it. I honestly I love it because I still do get really nervous before races, And I remember there was one time at the Middlesex County Championships, and I thought I was going to be sick. And I phoned David, and I came off the phone, and I was like, oh, why was I even bothered? Like, I could do this. Yeah. So he's a great motivational speaker. So I've learned the value of that, and then definitely patience as well.
Yeah, I would agree, because like I never used to, because obviously I love like long distance stuff. I always used to I hated speed sessions and stuff like that. Like I thought, oh, I'm never gonna improve, because I would do like a speed session and I'd be like, well, that hasn't helped me, like, because I wasn't seeing instant results, you know. And then with David, like I just learned like just patience, and like if you just keep working on it, like you will eventually see a result. Like I can definitely see in myself now, like on our sessions where it's like more speed based, I'm definitely like much faster and much better at them. So it's just giving yourself time to just build and stay motivated as well, especially like after a bad race or something, and you're like, you know, you're feeling a bit down, you know, just to stay motivated and think like, what can I do to work on that, and just think forward to the next opportunity where you can prove to yourself that actually you're better, you've improved and you've progressed.
Yeah, I think another key thing that David's kind of made apparent to me is that I've kind of understood from him is that we need to not only just trust the process, but we also need to engage in the process as well. And so it's like a combination of the two.
That's deep.
Yeah.
You mentioned motivation there, Maayan. How do you, I haven't asked this question before, it just popped into my head. It's a pretty obvious question though, but how do you maintain your motivation throughout the season, through the ups and the downs?
I think back to like when I used to run with my mom, and like I used to go so slowly, but like I just loved it so much, and like I just want to keep that like love for running like alive.
You have to feel the love.
Yeah, and like just like get pumped, you know. You love this, like this is what you want to do, you know.
Remember why you're doing it.
Remember, like this is not about putting pressure on yourself. It's not always about that gold medal. Like it's about actually feeling like free and feeling like you're doing something that you love without.
And when you do that, the gold medal will come.
Exactly, like just feel like you can do what you want to do, and like that's it. Like it doesn't matter what happens, you just go for it, and as long as you love it, then there's nothing.
Then it's all good. Yeah, nothing to lose. You have fun.
Well, man, you just motivated me, man. I feel like I want to go run in this heat right now. I don't even care.
Yeah, go for it. You know what? If I could say I motivated someone to go for a run today, I think David will be proud. David will be very happy, because I think I was possibly one of his most negative customers.
Oh man, that's so good. And so, tied in with all of that, what's the biggest thing you guys have learned about yourselves through just running over the years as well?
I think, like as I kind of mentioned beforehand, that I am very impatient, but I've also been able to learn that I'm capable of more than I expect. So in the normal world, you don't get an opportunity to always test your toughness, how resilient you are, how determined you are. You don't always get to see what you can do and the limits you can push yourself to, because that's just not daily life. I mean, that's quite like an extraordinary environment, and running puts you in it all the time. Every step you take, you're overcoming an obstacle. And I think running taught me that I am capable of overcoming obstacles that I encounter, just within sport and also outside of it.
So good. Yeah. And Maayan?
I think for me, first of all, I'm more competitive than I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But also like being able to turn like a negative thing into something positive and into something that you can improve about yourself. So being able to reflect and look at my weaknesses, and instead of being like, oh, that's so bad, like I can't do this, but actually being like, well, if I just work on it and I give it time, then I can change that into a strength. And like not everything is set in stone. You can change things about yourself, you can improve. And there's no one saying you can't. You just got to give it time, and you got to give it effort. Yeah.
Wisdom coming out of my computer screen right now is just too much to handle.
It's the wisest we've been for a long time, I have to say. I feel like my brain cells have all gone like without the exams after, right?
Oh man, so good. So look, to wrap it up, guys, I always love doing this. So I've got a quick fire round, just a few questions, just one word answers. But then again, if you want to explain them, I'm all ears because I just want to hear anyway. But it's just like quick few questions just to find out like what you like and just what you love about sports, I guess. So the first question, we'll go Lia, then Maayan, yeah? Just switch between you guys. So the first question is, what is a race that you've always wanted to run in?
I think any international competition would make me happy.
Legit.
Yeah, I think for me, the London Marathon.
Yeah.
Top of my list.
Awesome. What is a location you've always wanted to run in?
For some reason, even though I hate cross country, I've always wanted to run in the park in Edinburgh with the Arthur's seat there. I just think I watch it on TV and I think it's so beautiful. But I don't know if they even have the race there anymore because now it's moved to Stirling. But I just think it's an unbelievable location.
Yeah.
For me, I'd say Kenya, definitely.
That's a good
Really?
Yeah. You see like the documentaries of like them running in Kenya, and I'm just like, oh, I want to be there. Like, I want to like try and run on those trails and
feel that energy.
Yeah, feel that altitude, feel that heat, you know.
Mm.
Awesome.
Not that heat.
All right, next question. Can you rank cross country, road, and track for me, please?
Track, road, cross country. But cross country is way down the bottom. Track and road are quite tight.
I would say cross country, road, track. Track's too speedy for me. Too speedy.
All right, well, now I know why you don't want to do the session tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Who's your biggest rival?
Myself.
Did you say yourself?
Yeah, I'd say myself.
I would say anyone.
Or you.
Yeah. It's like fast like warm ups and cool downs. We're like joking around, and during the session it's like, ugh.
Yeah. It's banter that's all banter.
Yeah. In the rest we're like, oh, we're dying.
Yeah.
And then the rest is like,
in the rest, yeah.
Trace.
You'll tell me you're dying and then you'll shoot off. I'm like, oh, she lied. Yeah.
That's that mind game.
Yeah, but I would say myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always competing with, just kind of trying to better myself.
I would say anyone I'm with.
Sorry, my computer just froze. But
oh no, ours did as well. Ours as well.
Yeah. I'll edit that out. But Maayan, you were just saying like anyone you're racing.
Yeah, basically just anyone I'm racing against, because ultimately, yeah, it's whoever gets to that line first. So it's whoever's going to beat me to that line first.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, my next question's not really related, but what's your guys' favourite books?
Oh, in terms of running, my favourite running books would be, I like autobiographies by professional runners.
Yeah, same. I like the autobiographies.
They give a really good insight into kind of both training sessions and also the mental side of it and the kind of winning mentality. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. And then in general, like I read quite a bit of philosophy just because I
really?
I thought it was fun. It doesn't really. I wouldn't say it helps my running that much, but yeah.
I want to do medicine, so I like books about surgery.
Yeah, you read horrible books about cutting people open. But yeah, in terms of running, definitely autobiography.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
That's dope. Do you have a favourite documentary as well?
If anything comes up with running, I'll watch it, but I can't even remember. So I not at the top of my brain at the moment.
Anything running, really.
Yeah, I do love. I love sports documentaries.
Yeah.
So when they have those Netflix originals, like there was one about American football, and I don't know anything about American football. I was on it.
Yeah,
I was watching it. I was like,
Last
Chance You. And then also the Michael Jordan documentary as well. So I like anything with sport.
Yeah. That's the thing. Sport is just inspirational. It's like if you're an athlete, you just get it, you know.
Yeah, the vibes are just
It's like we
amazing.
were watching a documentary about Michael Jordan, and we were like sitting there, I was feeling so motivated.
I was like, wow, I want to be a basketball player now.
Yeah,
like
the
soundtrack, I was like, wow, I'm there. So
Literally,
I think
my days. I was watching not this weekend, the weekend beforehand. I watched the Usain Bolt documentary, I Am Bolt, and I was just like, oh, it's so good. It's so flipping good. But I was just there like, I wish I was still a sprinter. Like, I want to compete at the Olympics. I want to compete.
Yeah, it's like I want to be them. I want to be them.
It's just like, it's so motivational.
It is really good. It's good motivation.
So good. And speaking of all these like Olympics and stuff, what's your favorite race that you've seen? Either like a big race or even if it's just like a, I don't know, like a YDL or something.
Yeah, I think watching Genzebe Dibaba break the 1500-meter world record. I can't remember how many years ago it was. Maybe like 1, maybe 2. I lose track of time. I watched it twice in a row. I was just like, how did she do that?
Oh yeah.
I just really like. It was such a phenomenal race,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the other girls in the race ran really, really good times as well. It was in Monaco.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, I think for me, probably just like the 2012 Olympics in general.
Yeah, it was like the start of our journey.
Yeah, because like that's really when like we started like, oh, like this is you can get like big doing
You
this.
can get good at this.
Yeah,
this
like
is fun.
Yeah, like you can love this and still like make something out of it.
Yeah, it's not just like a hobby.
Yeah.
Did you go to any of the events at the Olympics in London?
Yeah, we didn't get tickets to the athletics actually.
Yeah.
But I think we went to some gymnastics and
swimming,
and we saw Paralympic athletics,
Yeah.
which was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got to be in the stadium.
That's so cool. Yeah, man,
Yeah,
that is the best Olympics ever. I don't care what anyone says. Like in the home, oh man, that was amazing.
London is like, I think it changed London for the better.
Literally.
Yeah. There's much more pride in sport in the whole country as well.
100%.
It was so
I'm
cool.
walking into the Olympic Park even now, even if it's just for like a concert. I'm just like, oh, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Someone give me my spikes. Yeah.
Oh man, awesome. And so, I think just a couple more questions. Next one is, who's your favorite athlete of all time? Any sport.
Laura Muir. She is so inspirational. I think the fact that Laura Muir.
No idea who that is.
She runs 1500s, so she's like the best of British at the moment. In the
Laura Muir. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I heard something
I
else.
probably just like. Yeah.
No, cool.
With my words there. But yeah, I just think especially because she developed when she was a bit older. I think that can be really inspirational. Maybe for people who haven't kind of like won all these things or gotten all these top ranking times or made it international by a certain age. It can feel a lot like when you're 16, like, oh no, that's it, that's the end of my career.
Like you're running out of time.
Yeah, but Laura really proves that
you
can. She did it when she was a bit older, and
literally.
She's the very top.
Yeah, it's what was it? I think she ran at Doha, didn't she? And I think she came like 4th or something. But it's just like, but the thing is, I just love how after that race, her mindset is like, I'm looking forward to the Olympics because I just know where I can improve and I can actually run this quick pace. Like it's man.
Yeah. And I love that she did her studies at the same time.
Yeah.
I really rate that. I think that's really cool of her, and that she's like a vet and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
For me, I'd probably say Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
She's so cool.
Legendary.
She's just so cool.
Yeah.
Like honestly, we even named our tortoise after her.
Really?
Ironically. Yeah, our tortoise is called Shelly-Ann.
But honestly, like I just think she's so like she had a baby, like she came back, she bounced straight back, and like in general, like her whole her personality is just so like she's so cool, but she's so focused as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And she did her studies at the same time as well when she was winning all those races. Yeah. She became I think she got something. She studied to become a teacher or something. So
I find that really cool.
I think that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's a lot of people that just think that it's sport or like regular life, and it's like no, you can do both. You can just one at a time or kind of fitting it in around each other. I think that's a really good attitude to have.
those are two great athletes. And just to round it up, my final question of the quick fire round is, have you guys got any hidden talents?
Hidden talents. That's a tough one.
I think I'm convinced that I have a photographic memory.
Yeah, you think
I don't even know if that's a hidden talent or if it's even true.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced. I really am.
Oh, I need to think of one now. I looked at this question on the list that you sent us beforehand, just so we could familiarise ourselves. And I was like, oh, I'll worry about that one later. I'll think of something. And I'm thinking of it now.
Oh, she can lift quite heavy.
Oh yeah,
I think she was a weightlifter.
I think in a past life I was probably a weightlifter. Like, there are a lot of things where other people, like when we get deliveries of heavy things, people are like, oh no, like you can't lift that, like, because we've got two older brothers, and they're like, oh, call the boys down, call the boys, and it's just like by that point I've got it in the house already.
Yeah.
I just
like we got new beds and she was like carrying the whole thing. Like,
I think it's just like natural.
Got hidden strength.
Because when I was a baby, I walked at 8 months, which is pretty young. So I was just already running when most people were still crawling. So I think I've just got like quite a lot of.
She was born with biceps.
No, I wasn't. Let's not go that far. But yeah,
meant to be an athlete.
I think a lot of people don't expect a long distance runner to be able to.
Yeah.
Like lift. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, there you go.
Not that helpful for long distance running. It's not that helpful for it, but
I don't think my photographic memory is that either.
No.
That's so jokes. But look, to end it all, guys, have you guys got any specific or general advice that you want to just give to anybody that's just wanting to get better at running and just get deeper into their passion of athletics and stuff?
Definitely enjoy it. And do injury prevention exercises alongside it, because it saves you time. Because I remember people used to think that my mom was like mad and things like that, because we used to go to the physio from like pretty early, not not regularly, but just any time there was a little something, like you had a lot of trouble with your knees, from a very young age. And we were always there, and we always had the little physio exercises to do.
And they were like, why are you going to the physio? And I was like, you don't want to get injured.
Yeah, they were like, why are you wearing shoes with cushioning or whatever? Or why aren't you just wearing like your Nikes that you wear to school, like when we just started?
Yeah.
I think that doing those injury prevention exercises and kind of having an awareness has saved us a lot of time, because
and it's given us a good base, I would say.
Yeah, I haven't had a serious injury ever, touch wood.
Why did you touch your head?
That's what people do. Thanks. But yeah, I haven't had a serious injury yet, and I think that's saved me a lot of time. And there are lots of other setbacks that you're going to come across. So I think just preventing an injury is just the best way you can set yourself up for starting out running.
I would say patience. Have patience. It will happen. You just got to give it time. And if you have one failure, don't see it as a failure, see it as something that you can improve on.
An opportunity to learn.
Yeah, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity for you to get better and for you to improve. But yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for interviewing us. It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. But look, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 6 of Ardent Run Club. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've been inspired, and I hope you find your fire. See you later.
Bye.